Hi, this is the evaluation of the orderIT trading system for December the 3rd, 2020. We've had 16 trades, 9 were indicated as buys, 7 were indicated as sells. First trade is BB. That's BlackBerry Limited. Tripped at 11:20:01 a.m. at a price of $7.27 as a short sell. It closed the day at 7.46 and it was actually up 0.13%, and you can see it actually was up also early morning. So we'll see if there was actually any time during that period where it came down below its tripping price. So right around here, yeah, right around here, 7.27, 7.29. As you can see, it was tripped as a sell, but does not look like there was any points where it was strong enough. OBV showing moving sideways, and actually end of the day it actually shot up. You can see MACD, reason why it tripped, you can see MACD just was shooting right down, and it's somewhat moving sideways, bouncing back and forth. You can see end of the day it recovered. DI showing somewhat negative early morning and pausing the rest of the afternoon, and Bollinger Band showing a somewhat moving steady up. To me, that's a negative. There really is no potential there. It just happened to trip because of the period of time here where it just happened to be moving downwards effectively on the price of the stock. So not a positive trade. Next trade is CIDM. That would be, I think that's Syngium Corp. It tripped at 11:45:03 a.m. at a price of 56 cents. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 56 cents. And look at this. Up early morning, almost 50%. So this stock is a stock that's just shooting up. Just shooting up. So it just shows you that, if you didn't catch this on the day that it was tripped, you certainly would have caught it very strongly on the day afterwards. But up 50%, that's indicating that that stock is just shooting through the roof. OBV showing somewhat rising at the end of the day. MACD, no, MACD was actually showing bouncing back and forth. Did have a recovery a bit, but again, MACD was showing that it is ending down at the end of the day. And DI is actually showing it fairly negative for most of the day. So this stock, while was tripping positive, Bollinger Band showing it was moving somewhat steadily upwards. You see, end of the day it's just coming down, but it was moving upwards. But the indicators tripped obviously at a period of time, but looked like it was returning back negative. So, interestingly enough, the stock indications is not showing strong movement, but in the end it was moving positive, and by the end of the day you would have made a positive trade. And you can see the day after, early morning, showing a massive increase on that stock. Boston Scientific Corporation, BSX, tripped at 12:17 p.m. at a price of $33.91. It was a short sell. It closed at $33.81, down 1%. That is another positive trade. Another positive trade. Let's take a look-see. OBV, you could see in the afternoon it was coming down, morning it was moving sideways. MACD bouncing back and forth, but you could see the end of the day it actually was dropping heavily. DI is actually showing a good amount of the day. It was actually negative, and the end of the day it was moving downwards, heavy downwards the end of the day. And Bollinger Band showing somewhat a steady decrease. Well, steady. The fact is that it looked like it was moving on a on a day-wise activity of downwards, and again, end of day it was moving. It was dropping end of day heavily. So again, another positive trade. Next trade is GES, Guess Incorporated. It tripped at 12:09:32 p.m. at a price of $18.63. It is a buy. It closed at $18.72. It was up 10.83%. So that's another positive trade. Let's take a look at the indications. Indications, OBV is bouncing back and forth, so nothing strong wise OBV. MACD is actually showing a bouncing back and forth, and at the end of the day it actually was going negative. DI actually showing it fairly positive across the day. It did have a reversal at the end of the day and looked like it may have been recovering in the day. Bollinger Band showing a steady rise, and then the day it looks like it was increasing. So that stock was moving positive. Indicators not 100% positive, but they were showing somewhat positive. CLVS, Clovis Oncology. It tripped at 12:10:19 p.m. at a price of $5.28. It was a buy trade. It closed at $5.41, up 11.09%. It actually dropped a good amount early morning, so this stock you would have had to get out obviously on the day before, but you can see it closed positive, so that's another positive trade. OBV showing somewhat a steady rise. MACD actually, they're showing rising in the morning. It's strange because it actually tripped right when it was just coming a little bit, but morning, early afternoon, it was actually dropping MACD wise. Surprisingly though, DI is showing very positive early morning. It's kind of interesting that MACD and DI are actually showing negative activity and in the morning time. That's very, very interesting itself. You see, at the end of the day, it was making a bit of a reversal, and it was moving up for the most part most of the day. So again, another positive trade. Indicators not 100%, but they were again showing positive when they had to. And across the board, they were positive for the most part. CLVS, which is the same trade, and I'm going to remove it because we've already did it. So that actually is going to CLVS. CLVS was a buy, so that's going to change our buys to 8. And total trade is actually 15 because I had a double indication on my orderIT system. Next trade is CLF. Cleveland Cliffs Incorporated. It tripped at 12:05 p.m. at a price of $12.13. It was a short sell. It closed the day at $11.99, down 3.77%. It actually was moving up a little bit early morning, so that's another positive trade. Yeah, you can see OBV afternoon, it was going down. MACD afternoon going down. Morning and early afternoon moving somewhat sideways. DI showing somewhat consistently negative and heavily negative in the afternoon. And Bollinger Band showing actually more sideways for the most part, but then again moving down at the end of the day. So indicator somewhat showing negative movement, but it was really the end of the day that really finalized that trade. Next trade, GLUU, Glue Mobile. Tripped at 1:32 p.m. at a price of $9.73. It was a short sell, closed at $9.59, down 2.74% over previous. That's another positive trade because it closed below its tripping price. Look at the analysis. OBV showing somewhat a drop, steady drop during the day, but then a heavy drop afternoon. MACD was actually showing that it was moving up early morning, or excuse me, late morning, and then moving somewhat sideways for the afternoon, and then dropping in the afternoon. DI showing very much a negative day, and again heavy negative in the afternoon. Bollinger Band just moving down. Next trade is FIS, Fidelity National Information Services. It tripped at 1:05:11 p.m. at a price of $147.49. It was a short sell. It closed at 147.28, down 0.88%, so that's another positive trade. Interesting, moving down morning OBV wise, but you can see afternoon it actually made a recovery. MACD showing the same thing. MACD actually showing the end of the day it was making a reversal again, so it was dropping morning, afternoon it was recovering, and the end of the day it was dropping again. DI though was showing somewhat moving in a negative direction for the day, and again, end of the day it was moving down. Bollinger Bands, look, it just showed that it was moving down. Again, you can see this recovery a bit in the middle of the afternoon, but then reversal at the end of the day, so that stock moving down. Next trade is HFC. That's Hawley Frontier Corporation. It tripped at 1:05:29 p.m. at a price of $27.59. It was a buy. It actually closed at $27.54, but it was up 4.99%, so it was up a good amount. Yeah, you can see it dropped at the end of the day, but 105. So actually 105. So around that area, it was. It moved sideways after the trip and really didn't make any positive movement above the tripping price, but it does look like it's a good possible trade. OBV, yeah, showing end of day. Surprisingly, it made a recovery, but OBV is not showing that drop it had in the morning or late afternoon. MACD is showing that, somewhat moving sideways. You can see the periods of time where it came up, which is the period where it tripped, and just started moving sideways. And DI is showing it moving. Well, that's that drop that you see. DI is actually showing it quite heavily. And Bollinger Band showing. So if it wasn't for that drop, the stock probably would have stayed, recovery. But I consider this a good possible trade, just because of the fact that it didn't go down much below its tripping price and was somewhat fairly consistently moving and such. It just happened to be the end of the day, had a drop. Next trade is HFC. That's Hawley Frontier Corporation. It tripped at 105. I just realized another trade that I have doubled in here, so I'll just remove that. And that means we actually have 14 trades and only 6 sells. Okay. So that was HFC. Next trade is HD. The Home Depot Incorporated. It tripped at 1:30 p.m. at a price of $20. I think I'm on the wrong trade, I think, because that was last trade was a buy, so I'm sorry. So we have 14 trades, 7 buys. That was 1305, 29, okay. Okay, so HD, the Home Depot Incorporated, tripped again at 1:30 p.m. at 268.72. It was a short sale. It closed at 268.14 and down 1.09%. So that is a positive trade. Not down heavily, but again down. Could have been a positive trade at the end of the day for that one. It tripped at 13:30. Excuse me, I already said that. OBB moving down for the morning, made a recovery afternoon, but then dropped again. MACD showing the same movement, dropped at the end of the day, but was making a recovery in the afternoon. DI though was showing very much a negative day across the board. You can see this recovery it made in the mid-afternoon. Bollinger Band just showing it moving down, so again we did a little bit of recovery at the end of the day, but again still went down end of day. So next trade is GFI, Goldfields Limited. It tripped at 145.39 at a price of $8.94. It was a short sell. It actually closed at 903, down 2.17%, but that's above obviously its tripping price, so it would not have had a positive at the end of the day. But you can see it's opening at 8.91, so it actually has dropped below its trade price early morning, so it would have been a positive early morning. We'll see if we could have made a positive trade though for the day. So it tripped right around here at 145, so right around this area, 895. So it was down in there. And in the afternoon it recovered a bit. So there is a period right at the point of time where it tripped for looks like almost half an hour that you could have got out. I consider it a positive because that still is potential. You would have had to monitor very closely and basically get out before obviously it increased. Obviously it's a difficult thing to do, but again get it at a slow point and then trip it out before it goes above your tripping price. OBB is showing the negative, and showing afternoon. OBB is showing that it dropped. A bit of recovery at the end of the day. MACD showing the same thing. In the afternoon, early afternoon is where it dropped, and that's where it tripped, and then came back up. So it's a good portion of the day. It was actually making a recovery MACD wise. DI showing negative and very negative in the early afternoon, and then a bit of recovery. And DI actually showing a bit of a reversal. It looks like it was coming back down again. Bollinger Bands are actually showing somewhat of a sideways movement. So this would have been a very, very, very tricky trade, but you still could have made a positive trade on it. CLRB, Cell Selector Bioscience Incorporated. It tripped at 2:10 p.m. at a price of $2.29. It was a buy trade. It closed the day at 2:33, up 19.49%. Though down, you can see down quite a bit early morning. So this was a positive trade, but as you can see, with a lot of stock, early morning is somewhat an indication of which direction it may be pushed during that day. But you could have got out of this stock on the day that it was traded and made a positive trade. So let's see what's going on. OBB, somewhat nothing strongly, moving somewhat sideways, bouncing back and forth, but bouncing back and forth sideways. MACD somewhat showing negative, showing sideways also, again making that positive movement in the afternoon, but actually was moving down. Actually moving down a good portion of the day in general. DI though showing that it was somewhat positive most of the day. Don't make a negative recovery. Bollinger Band showing the same thing. Basically moving sideways and a little bit of negative movement at the end of the day, but again not the Bollinger Band graph is not showing 100%. But again, it ended the day up obviously from where it started, tripping wise. Next trade is DDD, 3D Systems Corporation, tripped at 234.20 at a price of 10.06. It was a buy trade. It closed the day at 10.13, up 4.43%, so that's another positive trade. And we will look at the OBV. Yeah, look, OBV is just showing that it shot up late morning till the end of the day. It was moving up. OBV wise, or volume wise, it was moving positive. MACD, it moved up again morning, then started moving sideways MACD wise. But DI again, yeah, shot up early morning, and it stayed consistent. It was making a bit of a reversal at the end of the day, which is what we were seeing, but it was very strongly positive for most of the day. Bollinger Band just showing, yeah, it just shot up. So again, that would have been a very positive trade. Next trade is NNDM. That's Nano Dimensions Limited. It tripped at 235.01 at a price of 752. It was a buy. It closed the day at 758, up 18.44%. And if you didn't catch it, you would have catched it early morning. As you see, it's up early morning. So another positive trade. Excuse me. OBV morning it shot up, but basically moving back and forth. So OBV is not showing any concrete direction itself. MACD, yeah, you can see that it caught it at that time, basically reversed, but at the end of the day it was recovering, again moving positive. DI though, look, it's showing pretty much positive across the board, and this point of where it tripped, you can see it was just shooting up DI wise. Bollinger Band, yeah, just showing a steady increase upwards, so again that would have been another positive trade. So that gives us 12 out of 14 trades, so we'll say that 12 divided by 14, that's 85.7% possibility with that day. So again, another good day. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.